Sporting touch of hands. Round number one. There's that fast start. And that is the fastest knockout in bare knuckle fighting championship.
K-Bomber, born in the Bronx, raised in Dade. Been in the city since Pit had braids. Bahapanti parties, plata know how to sneak me out. Now it's 7-figure meetings, every day we lead a house. It's game time, the game's mine, you know the vibe. Yo viajado el mundo entero, reppin' 305.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Don't Blink Podcast. You know I got the kid in the building.
Yes.
Kid.
We in here. It's a special.
Yeah, no, it's a special. Today, listen. Today we got like 10 podcasts in one. We got a soccer player, an author, a record-breaking professional powerlifter,
Yes.
gym owner, boxer, doctor, and all-around badass.
Yeah.
Dr. Stefi Cohen.
I can tell you did your homework.
Yes, we did, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so we got a lot to get into.
Hell yeah.
Well, first of all, how you been? Everything good?
Good. Everything good. Training for my next fight. Fighting July 8th, so staying busy.
July is where you fighting at?
Here in Miami.
Okay, nice. We'll be there.
Man. Are you ready?
July 8th.
I'm born ready. I stay ready. I stay ready.
Hell yeah.
Exactly. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start with born and raised and how we got to with all these accolades.
Okay. So I was born and raised in Venezuela. Caracas. I lived there until I was 18. I played professional soccer from the time I was 13 until 18 until I left. So I left with that kind of American dream of making it to, a good school and playing professional soccer. That was kind of my dream, my goal, my ambition. End up moving to San Diego State with a soccer scholarship that I didn't end up taking. So I moved back to Miami just because of, honestly, it was really hard from a cultural and social standpoint, living somewhere by yourself after being so sheltered in Venezuela. You know how life is in South American countries. It's a completely different dynamic, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it sounds like conceited, saying like I didn't know how to do most things that kids here knew how to do, that were born in, like it was just expected. Doing laundry, knowing what to eat, how to go out, how to go and come back home. Like all of those are things that we weren't exposed to because it was so dangerous. So we were just kind of like constrained to, the doing things in a very specific way. Right. So I ended up moving to Miami, wanting to be closer to the Hispanic culture and closer to my family as well, and stopped playing soccer, which is one of the things I regret the most about my upbringing, because I don't know. I mean, I feel like I gave up way too soon. I didn't have my coach next to me telling me that I could do it, that I should keep going, and I just kind of gave up at the very first sign of resistance kind of thing. So I gave up a massive part of what made me of my identity, which was being an athlete. Right. And short after, I realized that there was a massive kind of hole in who I was and in my heart as well of continue being an athlete. So that's kind of a point in my life that marked a discovery period of kind of what the next thing was going to be. So the way that I approached that was it was very methodical. Like I wasn't just looking to try a bunch of different sports and see where they went. Like I was very methodical in how I thought about it as well. Like finding something that I kind of like had three buckets: your skills, your talents, and your passion. So your skill is something that you can develop. It's something that through dedicated training and tons of hours you can get better at. Your talent, it's kind of an innate born gift. Some people are innately strong. Some people are innately fast, like that. A basketball player is born, they're tall. So that's something that you can't train, essentially. And your passion is something that you're naturally drawn to or genuinely drawn to. So I was always trying a bunch of different sports out, just trying to figure out which one had the most level buckets of those three categories, essentially. So I went from like doing half marathons, doing triathlons, trying skateboarding, CrossFit, and that was kind of like my gateway into lifting weights. So I did Olympic weightlifting for about 5 years at the highest level, national level as well, and then got into powerlifting and now into boxing as of the last year and a half.
And you're a record holder in powerlifting.
Yeah. So I broke 20 or over 25 world records in powerlifting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, in a short period of time.
And you said something how you felt like you quit at the first sign of resistance is maybe some gas now on the later part of your life when you did the powerlifting, you exceeded in that. Boxing, you're exceeding in that. You got one of the best gyms, you know. So I mean, maybe it was a blessing in disguise.
It always is. I mean, it was a massive life lesson for me, you know, and just the pain and suffering that came with it. Also, it made me never make that mistake again.
Right.
You know, in every single sport and thing that I've done in life as well.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations from one record holder to another.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. History makers in the building.
What record do you hold?
Fastest knockout in combat sports history.
Okay. I watched
Everybody hear
that.
that?
I watched that. That was epic.
So let's get into what came after soccer. Once you left, you went to powerlifting, right?
So soccer, a bunch of different things, like random things.
And soccer was just when you was in Venezuela, or that was after you already came over here?
So, I mean, I played professionally back home, like for the national team there.
Yeah.
And then when I moved here with a soccer scholarship, but that was short-lived, like 6 or a year. Played professionally here.
Yeah,
Or,
from
I guess,
Venezuela straight
NCAA.
to San Diego must be a
It was a shock.
a culture shock for sure. Okay, and what comes after powerlifting?
Boxing.
Oh yeah, you went straight to boxing, but
Yeah.
you've owned the gym for a long time now, right?
Yeah, so Hybrid is my baby, is my business. I started it 7 years ago when I was getting into powerlifting, actually. So at that point in time, I had a style of training that was hybrid. So it was a mix of Olympic weightlifting, powerlifting, and functional bodybuilding is what we called it. So our whole slogan was look like a bodybuilder, lift like a powerlifter, and move like a weightlifter. And that's kind of like what started, what sparked interest, I think, in other people wanting to train like me, like us. That was kind of the inception of Hybrid. It was genuinely how we were training, and then people being interested in that. So Hybrid started as a software that distributed online workout programs. The goal for us was always to find a way to make it scalable, so to reach as many people as possible while doing the less amount of work, and finding a way to
Working smarter, not harder.
absolutely, yeah. Because I think when you figure out a way to stop exchanging your time directly for money, like that's when you're truly living.
Explain that a little bit.
So, most people work for an hourly pay, right? And that requires you to be at the job, whether most specifically, or the best example I can think of is manual labor.
Yeah.
You're there, you're getting paid 20, 25, 30 bucks an hour, and you have to be there physically doing a job in order to get paid. Getting to a point where you can stop exchanging your time directly for money is, for example, setting up a system like what I'm talking about with Hybrid, where people sign up through a link. The bulk of the work is already done. So writing the workout program, the descriptions,
The content's already created.
the content's already there, and then it's just a link, and people keep signing up. So, man, I remember when we first set that up, and like I would go to sleep and wake up with $1,000 more in my account, and I'm wow, this is
Working,
it, man.
it's
I'm like,
working.
I'm gonna keep sleeping.
no, seriously. I felt like I could keep sleeping,
Right.
It's that feeling of like, oh shit, like you wake up and there's more money in your account, or there's enough money in your account, and you didn't have to like kill yourself doing something, which is, it's at least like how I was working on until that point.
That was awesome.
Created Hybrid. Oh, sorry.
No. I was saying we need to figure something like that out.
I can help you with that. So yeah, that's kind of how because you were asking about the gym, that's kind of how Hybrid started, was a software that distributed online workout programs in an affordable way. So we wanted to keep our prices always as little as possible, essentially. And that led to just a massive and exponential growth. Like over the first 6 months to a year, we just grew so fast and quickly expanded into other verticals, offering nutrition coaching, started an apparel brand, podcast, YouTube, opened a gym. That was kind of like how the gym was born, but it initially started from an online platform. So we had that platform for about 3 years before we opened a physical location.
Okay.
And that was awesome.
How's that going? How's the physical location going?
So up until last year, we didn't see it as we never thought about it as a money maker. Right. It was just kind of a thing we had so that people from all over the world could come visit us and train with us. A place where we could host seminars, a place where we could host other athletes that come in. And obviously as athletes also to have a
home.
A home, a training environment that's 100% under my control. Like if I wanted to close down the gym and have a session just with my friends, I could do that essentially. Yeah. But with COVID and everything going on, like we had certain areas of our businesses that were massively bleeding.
Right.
And it just got to a point where we were like, well, there's no reason why we shouldn't think about this area of the business as with the same way that we think about everything else. It's like, how can we make the most amount of money from it, you know? And we started implementing certain things, creating a part of our software so that we can facilitate a connection between personal trainers and the people who train at Hybrid. So that's like been a massive source of revenue for us. But that's, you know, right now for the first time ever in the last 5 years, we're like in the green with the gym just through
That's
implementing that.
That's awesome. Seems like everything you touch is gold. I might need your help on a couple things. Hey,
No, I think you're only hearing about the success stories.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that I've tried to do.
Trust that we know that all of that greatness came with a lot of fucking work.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
A lot of work,
long hours,
of,
sleepless nights. You know what I'm saying?
And you know, for lack of a better word, failures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You fail a lot before you.
So many.
succeed.
Yeah, I've had so many ideas that I thought were gonna be amazing and dedicate a ton of time to it, and then end up being a complete waste of time.
Right.
Really. Apparel is one of them.
Yeah.
Apparel.
Like
Talk to me about apparel. I got a clothing line. What's up?
Yeah, I mean, we're shutting down our operations for apparel.
What are the hurdles that you ran into?
Listen, like, I don't know many, but from the beginning, so we used to have a director of operation for the apparel side that when he was doing the accounting, just like the profits versus loss, he was heavily inflating how much we were making. And I say heavily, but it's like a few cents or a few dollars here and there that just
accumulate
over time. Accumulate.
You
So
end up paying tax for that. You end up paying tax for whatever numbers he's the one right.
Absolutely. And it also influenced how much we pay him because he had like a percent share. So he would make that seem like a lot bigger, and then he would make our expenses seem like a lot smaller. So he wouldn't like even add into account certain things that are expenses. He wouldn't even add that. So we had a very like distorted view of what was actually happening in the company. We didn't really know. So we started investing more into it, investing into our own like equipment to print our own shirts, hiring people to do everything from like tagging, bagging, shipping, everything.
Yeah.
So just a massive investment there. Only to find out that idea that we had about how the company was doing was
this guy
wasn't it.
Yeah, like it wasn't it at all.
Yeah.
So from then on, it's like it also gets to a point where you have to really be careful with where you spend your energy and resources. Sure. You know, and for us, it's like the apparel was a nice to have, not a need to have. It was just, for me, it was a fun passion project. I love fashion, I love art, and I love having kind of a creative outlet. But realistically, it doesn't nearly make, it doesn't make enough money to justify spending time and energy into it. Like, I wish that it would have been smoother and that at least like it could have continued growing. But, with the state of the economy how it is, we just felt like our resources were better spent on the product that makes the most money.
And that's what you guys did, and look at you right now. You in the green right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anybody out there listening, Monster Brand Global and History Makers, right, guys? We're selling shirts.
Yeah. Hey, our shit is running smooth. The shit is getting good. The thing is good. The hats is good. Everything's good. We got it on Amazon. You can get it on everything.
And we got a different director of operations. How'd you come about a book, man? Because that's something I've been working on for myself for a long time. I've been writing about my crazy life for a long time. I want to put it into some type of book. How'd you come along with that?
So I accidentally wrote that book. So I had a massive low back injury when I was doing powerlifting. It was like in the middle of me getting my doctorate as well in physical therapy. So there I was in physical therapy school, so a top ranked school that has really good professors that have clinical experience, that supposedly have experience with athletes, and I have this issue with my back, and nobody seems to have an answer for me. Everybody gives me a different opinion. Everybody gives me different
ibuprofens and painkillers and going your way.
The ring around the rosy,
or like the just lame banded exercises, like for your glutes, or like planks and side planks and half sit-ups and whatever, and nothing seemed to help, nothing seemed to make sense, and it was all so confusing to me. So that's kind of what sparked my interest in just the topic of low back pain, specifically for strength athletes and athletes in general. So I just kind of like started doing my own research for myself. And one paper turned into an obsession, like everything else that I do. So I ended up writing this, like, I don't know, I think at that point was like 50 or 60 pages, just recapitulation of all of these research studies. And I wanted to turn it into one of the programs that we offered on our site. And as I was inputting the program, I'm like, wow, like I still have so much more to say because it's such a confusing topic. You know, back pain is painted as like a life sentence. Like when somebody has a disc herniation and they get that diagnosis, now you think you have a disc herniation for life. Like now you have a bad back forever. Right. And it's so it just that stems from healthcare professionals that are not up to date with the literature and that base their practice on fear mongering. You know, when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. So if you're going to a back surgeon, then he's going to tell you that you need surgery, that you'll never be able to heal from this. If you go to a PT or a chiro, their training is so outdated when it comes to back injuries. Like, you know, they'll tell you things like, repeated forward flexion is what caused the jelly donut to come out and pinch your nerves. And it's all so outdated and such bullshit, honestly. So when I was writing this program for other people, I'm like, wow, I still have so much to say and so many myths to clear out about this topic that I just need to keep expanding. And that's kind of like how I started writing my book. And as far as the process goes, it was long. It was like 3 or 4 years old, long. I wasn't in a rush to make it happen, but I was more like, it's the same thing as training. Like my goal was to open the Google Drive of the book every day, even if it was just to look at it. Right. So sometimes I'd open it and I'd have nothing to say and I wouldn't type anything. I would just read the last thing that I typed. Yeah. Sometimes I would open it and be super inspired and write down like 3 or 4 pages. And sometimes I would delete everything that I wrote the day before. You know? Yeah.
What did you end up doing? What about your back problem? Did you have surgery? Did you?
I told my mama the other day. I was like, "Yo, mommy, I think I got a back problem."
Well, they say because I had back surgery 10 years ago, and I started googling on it before I even got any surgery, and they said that 90% of the world has like lower back issues, L4, L5, herniations.
Oh my god, yeah. So, it's a super common diagnosis.
Right.
Yeah, but in most cases, unless there's like these what we call red flags, most cases just resolve with time. Obviously, if enough time goes by and you're staying away from the movements that make your pain worse, and that's not helping, then obviously like taking a look into other procedures, like for example, regenerative medicine is really big right now. So like PRP, stem cells, that kind of stuff. If that doesn't work, then potentially looking into like cortisol injections and other stuff like that you can do. And then last barrier is surgery, which like nowadays, honestly, like it's pretty minimally invasive.
Right.
It's like not a big deal. And that's the other thing. People get so scared when they say, oh yeah, maybe you have to have back. I was terrified when they told me I might have to have back surgery. And then the more that I looked into it and spoke to just people who do that, it's like, it's just such a minor thing nowadays.
Yeah, mine was like minimal. It was like, machines. When I woke up, it was like a little line and that's it.
Yeah.
I got a little scar. One thing that helped me, but they told me before the surgery, but I was too hard-headed to try because I was big into lifting weights and I didn't want to do it, but it was yoga. Yoga really helped me after surgery,
After surgery, to loosen up and stuff.
Right, and took the pain away at least for a while.
I mean, maybe it was yoga or maybe it was just time.
True.
Like I said, time's...
Doc, there you go.
Yeah. Time heals it all. Almost all.
That's what they say.
Yeah, that's what they say.
And it works for your back too.
And where'd you go to college to get your you got a PhD? Obviously, yeah.
So
play-hated degree?
Yeah.
A play-hated degree? Yeah, I did both undergrad and grad at the University of Miami here.
Oh, nice. Let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Hurricanes.
It's all about the U.
Wait, so when you left Venezuela, you went to?
San Diego.
And then from San Diego you came
to Miami.
When was that?
I lived in San Diego for a year.
Oh, okay. So it was a quick little whoop.
Yeah, so like 2009 to 2010 San Diego, and then 2010, now.
So now you've been
Miami.
here rocking and rolling.
You're so young, but you've lived like 10 lives.
I know, what the fuck.
That's awesome.
That's what it
That's awesome.
feels
And
like.
out of everything that I know that you are happy with what you've been able to develop thus far, right? But in the process of doing everything that you've been able to do in your life, like what's a dope memory? Like let's say on the soccer vibe, like there was a dope memory of a soccer experience, a soccer moment.
Oof.
That you was like, yo.
She played from 13 to like 18. That's a lot of memories.
Honestly, so soccer in Venezuela or playing professional soccer in Venezuela isn't what most people think about. Like, although soccer is a big sport in Latin American countries, women's soccer in Venezuela at that time wasn't at all.
Now it's like the WNBA here. Like ain't
worse.
Oh, it's worse.
Oh
than
my
that.
God, worse.
Yeah, way
like,
worse.
listen, our training center was inside of the military base, and it was just a dirt field, and the goals had no net, and our coach was this like super overweight old stinky guy.
Yeah,
and that's it. That was the team.
That's
the team
an amazing
was
memory right
the
there.
team was just us in that dirt field with no nets and this overweight guy that just.
And then your opponents they'll come to your spot and play you right there.
No, so we would travel all around the country to play, which was super cool. So for people who are not familiar with just the social state of Venezuela, like the social classes are super divided, and Chavez, when he was in power, created a lot of hatred between social classes. It was like a Peter Pan kind of situation where he was essentially putting into people's head that the rich were taking from the poor, and it just created a lot of issues in
a lot
the
of
country.
internal issues in the country.
Yeah,
sure.
and it's not only like the rich; it's like literally anybody who doesn't live in los barrios is a part of the problem, essentially. So. I don't come from a rich family by any means, but I come from a middle class family, and just even that, for me to be playing in that team that was with a bunch of girls that live in the como en el centro, like in the how do you say
in the middle
centro?
class,
well, lower, like lower.
Yeah.
Even that, like for them to accept me into the team there was an issue, and then for me to experience traveling with them to parts of the country that I would have never dared to even go was fucking cool. Like, whenever we would travel in this like little van, and obviously like we had no money from the government. The government would pay us for professional soccer, would get paid $50 a month, which is nothing, right? And we had obviously no resources when it came to these trips.
Yeah.
And for like on the way, we would have to shower, like going there or coming back. We would shower like underneath bridges. Like that's where we would shower, And when we would stay at the places, it'd be like one room for everybody. Like we would be like sharing beds or like sleeping on the floor, and it was so cool. Like really, it was such an enriching experience because it was just a bunch of girls that just loved playing soccer and didn't give a fuck about anything else.
Yeah. And you ain't back home. Like you over here seeing this, seeing that, experience this.
My mom thought I was crazy. My friends thought I was absolutely insane. But it was just that shared love for a sport and just not giving a fuck about anything else. What made it so special because it was so simple.
And I'm sure at that time you saw yourself as a professional soccer player in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna change the game.
Yeah, you're like, I'll do anything. I'll sleep anywhere as long as I fucking make it.
Yeah.
And so the golden question is, how do after everything you've done here, how do we get into boxing?
That'll be a funny story. Okay, so it initially happened because of my back. I was just I was at a point where I was abusing ibuprofen. Like I'm talking about like a gram of ibuprofen a day, and I just felt so much pressure to continue performing at the highest level, continue breaking world records, because you know how it is. Like with social media, even when you try to say that you don't care what people are saying about you, you fucking care.
Yeah, you sneak a
like,
little
you
peek.
care?
You're like, I gotta prove this asshole wrong.
Yeah. You care, So.
What's funny about social media, sorry to interrupt you, but
ahead.
you have 1,000 beautiful messages and you have one dickhead and you're like, I'm focusing on this asshole.
Yeah, but that's part of it's actually biologically ingrained in us to do that. because when
Coming from a doctor, y'all. This is coming from a doctor.
yeah, this is legit.
Let's go, doc. Let's
I
go,
could be
doc.
totally wrong. But I don't think so.
No, talk that talk. Come on, let's go.
So yeah, it's biologically ingrained in us that we want to hold on to things that evoke negative feelings as a protective mechanism. So it's like, imagine, when we were cavemen and women and whatever, something bad happened, or like you had a bad encounter with somebody. You're way more likely to remember that bad encounter so that you can avoid in the future than you are to remember a million good encounters that are inconsequential in your life.
Right, and you feel safe going in. When you know it's good, you feel safe, and you don't really have the memory of it because you're like, I'm good. I've been here before.
There's no need for your brain to like bookmark that,
right, right.
But your brain bookmarks when something is bad,
right.
And that's why it stays with you for so long. It could be comments, it could be pain, even like it's anything. Your brain, there's neural changes at the level of the brain that when something shitty happens to you, it stays there.
It stays there. Yeah. And time is the only thing that doesn't cure that one.
Nah, it does too.
I don't think so. I think we just get better.
Doc.
We get better at coping with the shit. It's always there.
Dealing with it.
The pain is always there, but you get better at dealing with it. Absolutely.
I think I get a little smarter because I just I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna read the comments. Fuck that shit. I pull something.
There you go. There you go. It don't bother you no more.
That's the best way to do it. But yeah, I just felt so much pressure to continue performing at that level, and I also felt like the growth of hybrid of my company was so tied with my performance in the sport that I just felt like I had to go to every competition, every show, every expo.
You were like an ambassador for that. Right?
Yeah, and the main one, like the only one at that point. So I was just like legit every 2 or 3 months I was competing. Yeah. And that's way too much for powerlifting, especially when you get to a level where you're flying really close to the sun. Like you're bound to burn some feathers at that level. Like you're already reaching that absolute amount of strength that not only my body was physically capable, but what we know of humans. Like I lifted the most amount that a person my size has ever lifted.
How much? Tell the people how much was that?
Okay, so my best squat was it 515 pounds?
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were weighing what?
Like 118. Yeah.
118?
She's 118
Stop playing.
Yeah.
Squatting a little Honda Civic.
See this guy right here with the Meaty t-shirt? He was complaining carrying that box right there up the stairs. He was like, my back. Jaden, 500.
And I see you did a deadlift of 445. I mean 545.
545.
A deadlift.
Yeah.
That's actually
Which one's that one?
Where you pick it up off the ground. And that's actually how I messed up my back.
That's a clean.
No, you just pick it up.
Oh, you just go like, okay, got you.
Just from the floor to like standing up.
And the one you go like,
that's the clean.
Yeah.
It's
your
weightlifting.
leg back like that and
That's
everything?
clean and jerk.
All about
Yeah.
that shit.
I actually messed up my back doing deadlifts.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
But it's not the it's not the deadlift what fucked up your back. It's the unpreparedness for that movement.
The unpreparedness and probably the bad posture. Doing it the wrong way.
There's no right or wrong way.
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there isn't?
Well, I've been lied to my whole life then. Thank God I stopped deadlifting. I wasn't doing it right.
Yeah, he started knocking out better.
No,
right?
There's no right or wrong, and that's another massive misconception in the fitness industry. Is like, what's a correct movement versus an incorrect movement? We all have different proportions, right? So it's like if you have a long torso and short arms, you're gonna look completely different deadlifting than me that I have a short torso and long arms.
Makes
So
sense.
there's no way that we can accurately evaluate who's doing it right. It's just who's doing it right based on their body proportions and their current capability.
Damn.
Well, that's something to learn.
Hey, but she went from lifting 500 to now.
Whoa, hold on. You asked me a question. You didn't let me finish my answer.
Come on, get back to that.
So it was exactly how did I go from powerlifting to boxing, right? Okay, so yeah, so much pressure to perform. I was just beating my body up to a level that, oh my God, like just now looking back, I just want to slap myself because it was just so dumb. It really was so dumb. And I was just so focused on getting strong and getting strong fast that I completely neglected the most important part, which is your health. If you don't have a good health foundation, that you're not going to be able to perform at your best. And now it makes me wonder, I'm like, dude, if I would have been feeling good, I would have fucking
Imagine what you
deadlifted
would have
600
done.
pounds. You know what I mean?
600,
But I
yep.
felt like absolute shit all the time. You know, I could barely tie my shoes. I needed help, like, putting my pants on. Like, I'm not even kidding. I needed help putting my pants on. There were, like, exams at school that were practical that I couldn't perform, that I would fail. Because I had to get someone on and off a wheelchair and couldn't do it. Couldn't be in those positions of, like, crouched and moving. Couldn't do it.
Back pain is no joke. Dude.
Awful. So, yeah, it just got to a point. I competed. My last powerlifting meet was March of 2020, and I cut down to 114 for that one. It's like the lowest that I've ever gone, and broke a bunch of records there, and then couldn't move for like a week. And that was the point where I was like, man, like, this is not even worth it. You know, I'm not even enjoying it at this point. Like, who am I doing this for? Is it to, like, get the approval of people? Is it to make money? Like, in either case, it's just not worth it. I can't. I feel like absolute garbage. So at that point, I was just like, all right, something needs to change. So I started just getting opinions from different people. Like, there's this one guy who is supposedly like the go-to for back pain advice, is Stuart McGill. He's in Toronto. I went there. I did a session, a 6-hour evaluation with him. And what he said was, hey, I think that for the abuse that you've put your body through, in order for you to get past this, you're going to have to take 12 to 16 months off of lifting weights. And I'm like, you old bag. You don't know anything. I was like,
what you
nah.
talking about?
Yeah, I was like, nah, I'm an athlete. Like, you know, I don't take 12 months off. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, this is insane. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to believe it, didn't want to do it. And it just got to a point where I just had to do it. And at that point, actually lockdown helped me out a ton.
Oh yeah, pandemic, all that came through.
Because everything got canceled. And I was like, I actually don't even need to be in shape. I don't need to be lifting, because I don't even know when the next time that I'm going to be able to get on the platform is. So that was kind of my my invitation to give the weights a break and really, like, give myself a chance to fully heal. And that's when I picked up boxing. I put a heavy bag in my garage during the lockdown, and I was like, this is pretty cool conditioning, you know? I think I could get into this. That's kind of how it started.
So she said she left powerlifting because she was getting beat up too much, and now she gets into boxing where we get beat up for a living.
Well, to get beat up a little bit, because she, you know what I'm saying, she gonna knock him out real quick. Yeah,
no,
she gonna hit him with a don't blink.
But the thing is, the thing is to get to the fight is easy. The working out is hard, and along the way till you get to the fight, you get beat up a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in a different way. It
True.
feels, this type of beating up feels a lot better than the powerlifting, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's so much more fun, dynamic. You got to think about what powerlifting and weightlifting, which are the two sports that I was doing for the last 10 years, like what they entail.
Yeah.
And that's why I consider myself an absolute master of the mundane, of the most boring shit ever. Like, think about this. You go into the gym and there's only 3 things that you can do. You either squat, you bench, or you deadlift, because that is your sport. It's like you never go into the gym without throwing a punch.
Right.
Like, some punch you're going to throw, even in the warm-up, you know? Some shadow boxing or shit. You can't get away from that. In powerlifting, it's the same. It's just squat, bench, and deadlift. But there are 3 movements that are so physically demanding and so just linear and plain and boring, right?
Yeah.
And you go into the gym and you have this plan of what you're going to do for 4, 8, 16, 20 weeks, whatever it is, and you do everything to the T, and you get to the end of the prep and you improved 0. Nothing. Like, you go to hit to attempt a new PR and nothing happens. And that happens just all the time. Like, I would go years without hitting a PR, 3 years without improving my deadlift, only to improve it by 5 pounds. So also from just a psychological standpoint, like, my brain was also, like, completely demoralized and beat up, you know? Like, when was the last time before I semi-retired, like, when was the last time? I don't even remember the last time that I hit a PR in any movement. You know, it had been so long, so it's like just so fucked to go into the gym and have a plan and try with all of your being to get better and not be able to, and then not know what needs to change either.
Yeah, that's it. And that brings, especially when you're at that high caliber athlete, it brings a little sense of depression in a sense. You know?
Oh my God, you're horrible. Like, the psychological beat up of that is brutal.
Yeah.
So boxing is a lot more forgiving in that sense.
Yeah, no, and listen, boxing saved my life. I love it. I go every day with a smile to the gym to get beat up. You know.
Hell yeah.
Wait, I wanted to ask you, what's your nickname in boxing? What's your fight name?
I don't have one.
Dr. Stefi Cohen. We're gonna drop a name for her today here.
Oh man.
I think I'm gonna stick to Stefi Cohen.
Okay,
There you go.
Okay, cool.
You know what I mean?
And you said July 8th is that'll be your fourth fight.
Yeah.
And you're 3-0 right now.
2-0-1.
2-0. Okay, you had a draw.
I had a draw.
Okay, and how are you liking your boxing career so far?
Honestly, I'm loving it. I mean, one thing that has been really surprising for me about boxing is how political it is, and how you gotta be really well connected. You gotta have like a solid plan of how you're gonna progress your career. Who are you gonna fight? Who has that person fought? Where are you gonna fight? How often you're gonna fight? How just everything.
Eat right, sleep right.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's its own monster. But honestly, I'm loving it. Like as far as boxing as a sport, I just find it so complete because it's everything. It's endurance, it's speed, it's power, it's strength, it's mental strength, it's coordination, footwork, head movement, strategy, tactic. Like you're using your brain, you're using your body, you're using your feet, just everything. It's like, and what's cool about it is that I feel like every single sport that I've done so far, even though, I picked up boxing at a late time in my life when I was 28 and a half, everything that I've done so far has like prepared me for this moment. It's not like I was just sitting in my couch or behind a computer and then all of a sudden I decided to be a professional boxer.
Yeah.
Like, I've been a professional athlete my entire life, and I feel like all of the lessons that I've learned in every sport and the skills that I've picked up from every sport are kind of like brewing me into this like really interesting boxer.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
So like
I
what you
agree.
become right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what I'm
agree.
becoming.
Yeah,
like
yeah, I
I'm
like
so
it.
far from how good I think I can be, but humbly. But
No, but and like you said earlier, we've circled this topic a couple times. Time, keep putting that time in, keep
Keep putting that work.
Yeah, repetitions. Take what you're used to. Stay consistent, and you're working. I saw you working with Dr. Pedro Diaz,
Yeah.
which is the master of boxing.
Yeah, he's a man.
And you're still with him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you
Yeah,
got
I'm blessed.
you got a great team. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely
absolutely.
blessed. Great team behind you. I know you got my boy Jake in the building. too,
Yeah, you know
baby.
Jake in the building.
Yeah,
You know
he's
he in here flexing.
He's a beast himself. So you got a lot of good people behind you on your team. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome. That's very important, especially in this game where you have a team, but at the end of the day, you're in that ring by yourself. But you got to know you have people behind you that care about you.
Oh
know?
my God, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Absolutely.
Stefi, we got an important question for you. We've asked every guest that's been on this show. Do you believe in aliens?
Of course. I mean, are we talking about aliens as like
Not illegal aliens. We're talking about UFO.
like extraterrestrial
Yes.
creatures?
Like E.T. in them.
Man, absolutely. Do you know how fucking massive the universe is?
Right.
To think that there's nothing else out there is just moronic.
Yeah.
Right.
Respectfully.
Have you seen anything in the air? You know what I'm saying? Crossing through. You know what I'm saying?
Depends
In
on
your
what kind of
journey?
drugs I'm on.
She's honest. She's honest. I like the honesty.
Yeah. No, whenever I'm on like an ultra, I think I see aliens.
Exactly.
So you got the fight July 8th coming up. Anything else you got in
2022, how's it looking? The rest of 2022, 6 months right now. You know what I'm saying? How's it looking for you? You got the fight coming in July. You know, it's coming real soon. After that,
Brother, I'm taking it one day at a time. No, I mean I wanna fight a couple more times before the year ends.
Okay.
But besides that, just I have a few projects that I'm working on, like for business, that I'm super excited about. So just trying to find a balance between, continue crushing it as an athlete and also just continue building my professional resume.
yeah, and her business too, because that shit's kicking.
Exactly.
That shit's rocking and rolling.
Exactly.
No, and she built her business like we said, like not putting it in the physical hours, but putting in with the program where she built. But now you got to put in physical time. What you're doing.
Exactly. A ton.
But like you said, it's very good. I think boxing is not only healthy, but it's mental health. It helps with it. It helps all around.
The amount of people that I've heard that say that like boxing saved their life.
Yeah.
So many. I feel the same way. Like I picked up boxing during imagine like going from being able to lift 4.5 times your body weight to not being able to pick up a box from the floor or your dog. It's like, it's so, I was so depressed. And then other stuff that was happening in my life, just like relationship issues and just all around, just not knowing what I wanted. And having boxing was like, it gave me a goal and a physical and mental outlet, and was exactly what I needed at that time for me as well.
God timing is perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It happened
It
right
really
there.
is. It really is.
Right where you needed it.
It really is.
It's really helped me in my life too. Steph, any words you got for like a young Stefi Cohen that's watching the show that doesn't know where they're going? What words can we give them?
That's a tough one. I mean, honestly, I think the key to anything or anybody's success is consistency and making sure that because listen, we also live in a society that thinks that quitting is a bad thing. Quitting has a very negative connotation, and I don't think that's fair. I think knowing when to quit is part of what makes people who reach a certain level of success successful. So it's being realistic with yourself of like, all right, like have I done everything that I could to make this happen? And if not, am I doing the right things to make this happen? Because it's not only about working hard, it's about working efficiently, working right, doing the right things. So staying consistent in what things you want to do, and then making sure that you know when it's a good time to call it quits or when not.
That's good.
I agree. My key word is consistency. I say that all the time. Consistency over time equals success, and we wish nothing but success to you. We'll be there July 8th to support you.
Rooting for you. Hell yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It's an amazing life you've lived, man. Well, hopefully we'll have you on soon when you become a world champion and then you move on to the next thing to conquer it.
Hell yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Everybody has been Don't Blink Podcast. Me, the kid, and look, Dr. Stefi Cohen. Thank you guys for watching. We love y'all. Bow.
I think me and Two Nights got something great going on. We got some great guests coming up. It's gonna be dope. We got some dope people that already signed up to do it with us, which is great. A lot of people show us love, and it's because we love them back for sure.